All right. Well, welcome. Hi.
was
Good to
funny.
see you. We're here as a small group this this awakening meditation. So that's good. An intimate gathering.
Hello.
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 So I've been reading Mayor Baba's book, Discourses, and he's pretty much revealing much of what I actually speak, almost the same words, except the path he describes would not be available, would not be possible for us in this time. It takes absolute divine intervention for a Westerner to be able to traverse the territory of spirit. So it's clear to me that what's happened to me and it's happening to many people in the world who are awakening spontaneously is intervention. That there is some force that has come and it made the possibility of awakening spiritually available, because mind and emotion and the enthrallment of the world and the habit of ego to merge with whatever influence happens to be around it makes it impossible in this paradigm to be able to access our depth of our spiritual truth in the ways that have been historically used. We have to come into another relationship. Now, I don't know if this force that's here on the planet ascending is going to continue. I just know it's here. And I just know that it's having a tremendous impact on what's possible spiritually, but also what's possible for humanity as it's evolving. And I'm certain it's because of what I speak of again and again, that we're in a time of essential, existential transition, of which as many awakened people as possible are needed. So I believe the imperative is making this available. So in many ways, my methods or my techniques are actually a very much more mild version of what Mara Baba would speak of in his discourses, because the whole issue of effort gets in the way of finding. And the whole thing is the recognition that something spontaneously is already happening to you, to me, to each of us, and it's a continuous unfolding. And it's allowing us to step out of the habitual paradigm we've lived into a paradigm that takes us into this new possibility that's here for humanity. This paradigm allows for things to happen that in the normal spiritual struggle effort paradigm couldn't. Because the way this one works, it works from the essential substance of our very existence. It's working in matter. It's the matter waking up. It's the Asat waking up. And therefore, it's coming from a different place than our intellect and our seeking and our stories and our idealizations and our ideas. It's emerging from within the very foundational structure of our physicality, of our physical existence, not the content of it, but from that which is the simplest part of our inhabited existence, our bodies. So the technique is actually about learning to listen to our body as a starting point, to create a link with that's already there in our body as a simple place, rather than intellect or emotion or heart or aspiration or longing and all these other things. Because the body's simple, it's immediate, it's everyday. When it comes forward, something more true starts trying to come in, starts seeking to find an avenue to come into existence as us. And it works in a subliminal way. It works in the domains of the subconscious that we don't normally have access to, but it's from this that the new awakening for humanity is coming. So the world awakening meditation is specifically addressing this unique new form of spirituality that is now here to give us a foundation in the very substance of what we are, but also the very substance of what the truth is that we are. Our bodies is what allows our emotions, our activities, our hopes, our wishes. But they're instruments of existing paradigm that we merge with and we become the channels for our misery and our happiness, our depression, our dissatisfactions. We're just channeling them. We claim them. We get habituated to them. We keep making them ours, but we're powerless from that domain. The only true power is if we can actually find that foundational quality of our own self-existent reality that in part starts with being in our bodies in a way where most of the rest of us is trying to run away from the body, to be distracted, to be entertained, to imagine a future that goes forever, imagine it never dies, and now, that it's utterly, absolutely free. And in that expanded consciousness that is available in this domain does not actually have much relevancy to the problems of this era that we're in. That really is of an essential nature, that our transcendences and our trespasses and our abuses have now had a consequence that the very substance of our physical existence is at threat. So it's no longer possible to be in just the transcendence or just the awareness or just the imaginings and longings. All of these can help, but we need to be able to find that place that we are in truth and become a means for it to come into existence. So the world awakening meditation is literally about that. It's a shortcut. It's going directly into relationship with that primal force that is here already, living us, breathing us, digesting our food, bringing us everything we do every single day, to be able to access that capacity to experience it through an organization of our intelligence, an organization of our effort, an organization of our practice. So the outcome of the world awakening meditation is really first and foremost to put us in touch with that inner substance of our self-existent reality, not just that is beyond the substance. And in that way, begin to open up to it as an alternative to good ideas, as an alternative to other things that come from our emotional body or other things we distract ourselves outwardly from, but something within ourselves. And when we do so, then that very principle of the new consciousness itself longs to connect and grow into a relationship with that force. That longing that comes from the direct experience of this opening is outside of mind and heart and emotions and ideas and understandings. It was there always. But the very nature of the habit of separate ego is outward. So therefore it didn't know inward, but not inward in the way of the mind ruling, not inward of the way of the emotional body trying to find something it feels it's missing, but in terms of the reality that we already are as having bodies and being self-aware. It is also what happened to me. It's also the path I've traveled and discovered. And I'm still refining what is the most effective way for this new consciousness to come into existence for humanity. And it has to be through each of you, no matter how few you are, who feel or have access to that within themselves. See, an aspiration or a longing that comes from that place doesn't come from an idea of God, doesn't come from a miraculous vision that happens when you're in the right state, in the right place at the right time. It comes from something that's always there with you. We're longing for what we are. We're longing to be that greater reality. We're longing to live in that truth. And that comes from this new consciousness that's here now. Not us, but we feel it as if it was us because we feel everything else that comes to us for our mind or vital or ideas or beliefs, our life experiences, believing they're true. But this is a different thing. This is a foundation thing in which all those other things exist, is the basis. So what's going to happen is there's two principles. There's the Sat above and the Asat below. The Asat is the substance of matter. The Sat above is governing, overseeing the possibilities of this evolution through its various emanations and expressions and collaborators. And that is what allows for the emerging of the Asat to come up out of its lostness and its subconscious materials and to begin to awaken. So it's the two coming together. They come together in each of our bodies. Our body is the intermediary between that above and that below. That below wishes is now longing to awaken because that above is longing for reunion with that lost part of itself. So we align with that love relationship and we become the mating ground. We also become the battlefield of what is in the way of this reunion. And it happens right there in our body. Third chakra, fire element, converts the lower elements into the higher elements. Each human being has a third chakra, if they know it or not. If it's closed or open, it's there, latent. When we do this technique, we bring our breath into that third chakra, intentionally calling in, evoking the Sat above to come in with that breath, to join our attention in that area of our body, holding that call, that possibility, that potentiality from above as a landing place for that force of Sat to evoke the Asat, because it's as far in the body as it can go. It needs the Asat to go deeper. When the Asat comes up in response to the presence of the Sat in our third chakra, it starts joining into the two and a catalytic event starts happening. An eruption and the energetic field that begins to open up a possibility that's beyond the one where the two are separate. And then when we're done with that breath, then we direct that breath out. Either one by sending it down. In this particular technique, we send it down into the earth to infuse the substance of the Asat in matter, that earth, water elements. And from that, it helps feed the integration of this new consciousness, this descending, awakening the Asat.